Dream, 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 dream. When I want you by my side, I want you. I was listening to the Everly Brothers singing Dream. It brought back memories, lots of memories of the 60s, my wild years, you might say. And things are happening right now with my life and everything. Go back down memory lane if you want tonight. I'll try just to talk about some of the good times. If I start crying, don't worry. It's all right. I was blessed. I've been blessed all my life, but basically mostly in the early parts of my life with having carrying wonderful grandparents and a wonderful mother that that loved me and cared about me. And I wish that she would have shared some of her hopes and dreams for me to things that she's told me lately that she'd like me to have accomplished and done when I was younger. I wish she would have shared those things with me and let me be able to do those things. But such is life. Up until the age of 9, when she married my first stepfather, life was wonderful. My daddy didn't know that he was alive until I was 5 years old. But my grandfather was my daddy. And God was my father. I was happy. I had uncles. I had aunts. I had cousins. We were a great big family. And we cared about each other. We loved each other. We were there for each other when we needed each other. There was no signs of prejudice or anybody not liking each other or anything like that. It was all, everybody was just wonderful to each other and helped and um, helped each other, and I was some some people might say that I was a spoiled brat, but the only thing spoiled about me was the fact that I could get my hair braided every morning by grandma, and I always had a good meal, and I had a good bed to sleep in, and had my own room and stuff like that. But spoiled? No, I don't really think I was. And after Mom married my stepfather when I was 9, um, they got married. They got married on the 8th of June, and my birthday's the 10th, and so we celebrated it with their anniversary or their marriage. Um, I don't know if I always resented that or what, but it just always bothered me because I didn't like him. And later on in my life, I found out why I didn't like him, but that was later on. Anyway, we lived in a wonderful home, Grandma and Grandpa's home, and had an orange orchard in the back, and Aunt Jean's and Cousin Judy's home was in back of me, and it was also Uncle Wes and Aunt Fern's home too when they were around. Um, we lived close to the Van Nuys Airport, right by it, and I used to lay on the grass in the front yard and look up and watch the airplanes. And after I found out that my daddy, my real daddy, flew airplanes, I used to wonder if he was flying that airplane. I didn't get to see him again. I didn't meet him until I was 17. I was 5 when I found out that he was alive, and I was 17 when I found out that my daddy was a very decent, wonderful man. Um, I always felt that way about him. I always felt like if he knew what my stepfather was doing to me, he would stand up for me, and he would probably beat the living daylights out of him. But he didn't find out until I was 17, after my stepfather left. But I had a really interesting life in some different ways, meeting different people. When I was 10 months old, Mama took me to Yvonne de Carlos for she likes to tell him a story. But she took me to Juan de Carlos for a wedding reception and danced with two brothers. Don't know who they were. They held me in their arms and danced with me. Uh, I was only 10 months, so it was hard for me to, I guess, it was hard for me to dance with both of them. But they held me in their arms and they danced with me. And that was the beginning of my uh, being around lots of people and important people. Um, music. I went when I was like about 11, I guess. Well, music always meant a lot to me, especially when I was becoming a teenager. You know how that goes. Anyway, um, when I was about 11, got my first record ever, and it was called Angel Face by Jimmy Darren. And oh, I love that song. I loved that song so much. And um, I saved my money up and I bought the 45 and I treasured that. I treasured it. I went to my Aunt Ruby's and spent the weekend with her and my cousin Mike. And my cousin Mike decided he was going to hide it from me. He was going to hide my record from me. My very favorite record. And he hid it from me because I was playing it constantly. But anyway, so he hid the record from me. And anyway, when he finally had to give it back to me because my Aunt Ruby told him to, his mother told him to, he brought it back to me. I was so mad at him. I was so angry with him for doing that to my, to keeping my record from me and not letting me have my record. And anyway, so I go back home and my sister Jenny somehow got it and she broke it. And there went my record, my very first wonderful record that I loved so much. It went in the garbage. And about that time, though, I was, around 15, going on 16. And I was running around with Lefty Frizzell's daughter, Lois. Well, I need to put on the brakes and back up a little bit and tell you about when I met Tex Williams, or yeah, Tex Ritter. No, Tex Williams. Uncle Tex. He had me call him. Um, anyway, he had this in Sylmar, California. He had this um, restaurant. And it was Tex place. It was barbecue place. And they also served drinks, and they also had dance floor. And so me and my stepfather, we used to go out there and dance. And the most embarrassing thing happened. Remember those petticoats that we used to wear when we were under the poodle skirts and stuff, and that the square dancers wear underneath their skirts? Well, I have one of those on. When you're dancing rock and roll and everything, you're twirling and you're moving your hips and you're moving and everything. Anyway, the slip sometimes tends to slide down, and this one dance, I realized that the slip had fallen down to the dance floor. So I stepped out of it, grabbed it up, ran to the bathroom, and I wasn't going to come out. I was so embarrassed. There was a guy in the band named Mike Cufford. It was Cliff and Mickey's band, Clifford's band. And Mike was my second crush. My first crush was Bruce. And I was in love with Bruce from kindergarten until the 5th grade. And when he moved away on the 5th grade, I didn't know what to do because I was so used to just playing with the boys, playing cowboys and Indians, and me being the only girl that played with the boys. It was kind of, they said I had to start being a young lady. I had to start playing with the girls instead of playing with the boys all the time. So I started trying to, but it was so frustrating. And here's this 5th grader that looks like she should be a 7th grader, and trying to learn how to jump rope and play tetherball and play girl things. So anyway, back to the story. It was awkward, to say the least. Anyway, so we're out there at Tex Williams' place, and I'm on the dance floor, and I realize that my slip fell on the dance floor, and I picked it up and I ran into the bathroom. And I wasn't going to come out for any reason. I was crying and everything. And this woman comes in, and she has a safety pin. And I thank God for the fact that He let some man or woman, but He let somebody learn how to make safety pins. And anyway, so this woman got this I think she even got 2 safety pins. She gave them to me, and I pinned up my slip, and I went out. I didn't want to go out there. I was still so embarrassed. I didn't want to go out there, but I went ahead and went. We were all sitting at the table, and Tex Williams comes out, and he's greeting everybody, and he comes up to me and he goes, "Oh, you're the little lady that lost her slip on the dance floor." I was so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed. I felt like crawling underneath that table, and looked at him and I said, "Yes, I was. It was me." He goes, "I want to talk to you." And we talked, and he told me, he said, "What's your middle name?" And I said, "May." He said, "When you get to be famous, I want you to use the name Patty May." And so I said, "Okay." He said, "Do you like to sing?" I said, "Yes, I do." He said, "When you become famous, I want you to use the name Patty May." Well, I haven't really ever become famous, but a lot of people do know me. And anyway, but a lot of people don't know me as Patty May, but that's my name now. Patty May. Patty May Mosier. Yeah. Anyway, that was right before bad things started happening. And my stepdad, wasn't my father. Only God's my father. Anyway, my stepdad decided that while Mom was in the hospital, that he was going to do something very bad. And he went me. I thought I would go to the hospital until Mom. The next day I went, and I saw her laying there with the tubes in her nose, and and everything. She had a bleeding ulcer. She almost died. I couldn't tell her, so I waited till she came home. And when she came home, I told her, and she called me a liar. It's always been a problem for me because I was taught to always tell the truth, no matter what. When you're called a liar for telling the truth, that hurts. But I forgave her. I forgave her because she didn't know. She didn't know, and I know that in her heart she loved him, and she wanted. She didn't want to believe it. She was in denial. It's what they call it nowadays. And anyway, on my 16th birthday, we were in Moore Park, and I invited I invited almost everybody to come. It turned out they came, but I wasn't there. I had been picked up by the police in a compromising situation. And even though I was 16, the man that I was with, since he worked for the city or the county, nothing happened to him. Anyway, so I thought that was unfair, but you know, they believed him over me. I told the truth, but I guess the truth didn't matter back then. Uh, when I was 13, it was before that happened. No, it was after what happened with my stepfather. That was when I was 13. It's when that happened with my stepfather. But I went to stay with Grandma and Grandpa for about a year. And I met this wonderful guy. At least I thought he was wonderful. He was the town James Dean, the wild guy, and I loved him. And my cousin lived a few houses down from him. They grew up together. They went to school together. My cousins and him, they all went together to school, and they all lived in a little community that was really neat. And anyway, I met him and I fell in love with him. And my best friend Sheila and I had been over at the little place where they had dances every Friday and Saturday night. And that's where I met Kenny when I was 13, maybe 14. But he was tall, blonde hair and blue eyes, and he looked a lot like Chuck Connors, the rifleman. And he was, to me, he was a special guy. He was just a special guy. There was other guys, too, that I admired, too, like the pastor's son, Reseda. I had a crush on him. And but I thought that he didn't even think I was alive. And then, let's see, back to Moore Park. There was some guys that went to the high school. I was a freshman in high school there in Moore Park. And put on the brakes. Got to go back to Simi High. Simi High. And that guy that picked me off the ground after I jumped a hurdle, twisted my ankle. Forget what his name was, but he was the handsomest guy in school. And I was sitting there on the ground, just laughing up a storm. He comes up and he goes, "Are you hurt? Are you okay?" And he reaches down to help me up, and my leg just gave way. And I ended up back on the ground again. And so he went and he got a chair, got a friend, and they carried me into the nurse's station and a chair. All the girls were like, "What's going on with her?" Well, I didn't mean this to be about my boyfriends or about the men in my life, the guys in my life. But it seems like it's turning out that way. I wanted to tell you about the musicians and the people in my life that God's networked me with that were so special. But there have been so many so special people. Teachers, friends, boyfriends, guys I had crushes on, guys that they were like brothers that I never had. I found out I had a brother when I was 16. I was told that I had a brother that Mom adopted out. He was born in 1950. And he ended up being adopted by the Hubbards, which could have been. that guy that with Scientology. And then I've got another brother that last time I talked to him, I've never met him face to face. Last time I talked to him was in Ventura in California. And he was in, no, it wasn't in it wasn't in Ventura. I mean, it was in California, but it was in Santa Cruz. It's when my daddy died. Um, I spoke to him. Anyway, when our daddy died, sometimes I often wonder about him. Also wonder if him and Priscilla and Ramona, if we ever were to get to see each other face to face, what it would be like after all of these years. What do they look like? What do they look like? And the things that we missed. Not knowing each other, not being able to grow up together. Things like that. Anyway, I was hoping that the music would be playing while I was talking, but it didn't happen that way. I can hear music, but that's me. I'm kind of weird that way. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. And I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever, forever, forevermore. Forever and ever and evermore. Have you? Please tell me. Email me or something. But tell me. Do a comment or whatever you want to. But have you ever wanted in your heart of hearts to do something, feel led by God to do something, and you didn't feel like it was the right time, or you tried to, and you ended up flat in your face, and you ended up having to put it on the back burner and waiting on it and waiting on it, waiting on it, and waiting on it. And then it gets to be 30 years later, and you realize that if you don't get it done, if you don't get what's been on your heart done for so many years, you're going to be in a lot of trouble because God put that on your heart, and He's networked you with the right people, and he's called you, and he's called you to do it. And if you don't do it this time, might not be a next time. Well, that's what's happened. Like I said, God's networked me with so many people. I pray that this reaches to my friends, the people that I've always admired and I've loved. I pray that we can get together on this concert and that we can do it. We can finally do it. We've got to get the paperwork. We've got to get everything. We've got to get the contracts. We've got to get everything done. I'm not an organizer. I mean, I verbally can talk to people. I can tell what God's put on my heart. I can share. I can do things like that. I can be friends with anybody and everybody that wants to be friends. And I can love everyone. My Aunt Jean used to say that was my biggest problem, was that I loved everybody. I loved everyone. I still do. There's some people I'd rather not be around, but I still love her. I still love her. And I forgive. Sometimes I think I've messed up so bad that I can't uh, that I can't do what I've been called to do, and I can't organize things. Now, public relations, I think I can do that. Anyway, anybody that sees this video, please let me know. Please let me know. Let me find what God's got in store. And please, if you see me out in public and having a meltdown, temper tantrum, something, just come up and hug me, would you? Because I need that. I need that physical touch. I need that love. I'm only human. There was a song that Chuck Girard came out with called Don't Shoot the Wounded or something like that. And anyway, it was really good song. He's another one that I want to get to sing if possible at the concert. Already got Dallas Holmes's agent. He said that I had to get the backing of the church and everything, which reminds me, if I haven't been able to tell you guys, or if I haven't told you guys already, um, the Rio Church. If you guys go to Rio, go up to your pastor and tell him about the concert, about the Come Together concert, and tell him to get a hold of Purple Patty. Tell him to get a hold of Patty at 865 233 5723. Give me a jingle, okay? And let me know what can be done and what you can do. Anyway, I guess I better close and get to bed. Dream precious dreams of the Lord and the things that God's going to be doing throughout our lives. I'll see you later. Mwah. Bye.